In chapter 11, I talk about systemizing your business. I now call this training Farm Efficiencies for Profit. I could probably write a book on just this subject. It's a quick training, but please enjoy Farm Efficiencies for Profit. So, when you think of your farm efficiencies for profit, I use a little secret, a little framework, a little formula that helps me do that. So basically, you want to create a manual, and this manual, in most cases these days, it's a digital format, which is this is how my business works. But to actually go, where do I start? This is what has really helped me. Build your business to sell it. So you imagine, I want to buy your business off you for so many hundred thousands of dollars, and I want to take ownership of it 6 weeks from now. What do you have to do so it's ready to hand over to me? So you don't have to spend the next year trying to tell me how everything works. So some of the language I'm going to be talking is build your business to sell it. But it actually comes back to, if you do this, you will actually build a business and a farm that's more efficient, because suddenly you're focusing on things that you may not have focused on. You go, oh, hang on, it's actually taking me a long time to do that, or why do I do that, when you start writing it down. So I'm going to be talking about two things. I'm going to be talking about efficiencies on farms and how we can really find them and fix them. But some of the language is going to be why you build your business to sell it, because these training, they really do go hand in hand. So anyway, let's talk about why you would want to sell your business. Why you would want to set up these systems. So if you were to, like I just said, it makes you set up systems just by having the mindset, hey, I need to sell this. If you have systems, you will have a better business. That's fact. You could ask any business coach or consultant or whatever. Businesses that have systems are generally better businesses. You'll have better records. If you're going to say, hey, I need to sell this, you'll have better records because you just naturally need to. The other reason you might want to build it to sell it is you might actually want to sell it one day. It makes it easier to go on holidays. If you've got systems set up to say, hey, here's the manual, you do this, you open the gate, you feed the cows, you feed the pigs, you do this, and actually a run sheet for a staff member to follow, it's actually really easy to say, right, I do actually need to go away for a week. I want to go on holidays, rather than this big ordeal that takes 40 weeks to plan for someone to run your farm. It will make you more profit. If you've got systems, you'll have better records. If you've got better records, you'll see where you're wasting money. When you eliminate those, you will actually make more profit. And it makes you think like a business person, not a hobbyist. There's often the hobby farm trap of typical example is, oh, look, I've got the space, I've got the time. Yeah, let's get those 10 sheep when you're a beef farmer, or let's do this other little project on the side. It won't take long, and hey, I've got the land, I'm down there anyway. So it'll just change your mindset a bit to say, hang on, that actually isn't a really good business move. So a few reasons why. Reasons for selling. So let's just say, hey, you do want to sell it. You go, I don't ever want to sell. You might sell to health reasons, that maybe you, your spouse, your mum, your dad, your grandma, something could come up that go, due to health, you go, let's sell this. You may need the finances, and not need as in you're going bankrupt, but need because, hey, I've got this new project I'm doing. Let's sell the business and I can put it into something else. You might want to retire. Probably all of us are getting older, not younger. Relocation for a farming business, that's common. Someone's like, cool, I love Victoria, but I want to move to Queensland. Or it could be the opposite. You want to move somewhere else. And the other thing is business in demand. A lot of people don't look at that, but if you build a good business that's profitable and it has systems and it's got a customer database, but people want that. There's a lot of people that will move to an area and they go, show me a good business. I want to buy a business. They don't want to go get a job. They've got money behind them. Show me a good business. And it's in demand. They go, right, oh, cool, I want it. So This is a bit of a checklist. This isn't from Forbes or Time magazine or anything like that. This is just from me. If your business has a list of customers, a brand, a manual, like a book, a folder, a manual telling someone how to run it, and if it's making money, you have a business that can be sold. They're the four things. Now, I'm sure there's businesses that have two of those things, one of those things, they could have those four and 10 more. But basically, you need a list of customers, you need a brand, a business name, a something, um, a manual of how it all works, and it's making money. You look at most acquisitions of businesses, they may not have all four of those, but if they don't have three of them, one of them is massively huge. Like I know someone who sold a business because it had a manual telling people how to run it. It just had an awesome system, and a bigger company just bought it just for the system. They go, you've written the manual and we've got thousands of staff. We want to buy it for that. You'll have some other business that's making money. It doesn't have a brand or a lot of customers and everything else is not good, but they go, and this thing makes money. It makes sense. Other like in bigger industries, you'll have buyouts, which is just a brand. They're buying the brand name. They're just snapping up a brand name. And the top one there, you'll have some businesses, they only are sold for a list of customers. A good example, probably over 10 years ago, is Skype, where you make like video calls over the internet. Skype sold for millions, never made any money. But its database could have been like 100 million people. Microsoft bought it. But anyway, back to farming. If you've got a farming business that has a list of customers and a brand, a manual telling someone how to run it, and it's making money, you've probably got something to sell. A brand seems logical, but there's a lot of farming businesses that is just like A and J, K, Smith, Pastoral, and it doesn't really have a brand, doesn't have like a website and a Facebook page and say this is the brand. So I'm more just putting that out there, more as a bit of marketing advice. Anyway, if you have those things, you have a business that can be sold. Something I would look for in a business if I'm buying, this is me, Daniel, personally. I would look for systems and procedures for everything. How do I run this thing? Because if you sell it to me tomorrow and then you get hit by a bus and die the next day, am I confident I can run this thing? Are there things in place where I'm like, yep, I could definitely run this thing? Clear accounting. I want to be able to look at spreadsheets and accounting and go, righto, expenses, income, profit, makes it really clear. Current staff. If it's got current staff, it definitely helps because it shows that it's not a one-man band. It shows, okay, they've trained Jenny or Fred here. They've got staff. More than one customer. Be very reluctant to buy a business if it sells all its product or services to one big customer. This one person, they're awesome, they take everything. I'm just thinking risk in my head. Goes, if that one person or one company changes their mind, goes bankrupt, gets hit by a bus, there's just so much risk. The next thing I look for is a marketing plan to get new customers, to say, okay, if I want to grow this business, how do I get new customers? I want an easy to run operation. That sort of comes down to systems and procedures, but it is a bit different. I don't want something that is so complex to run. I'm just like, no, this, like, I don't want to buy it, and neither would anyone else. If you've got an operation that is so complex to run, no one's going to want to buy it. So again, this actually comes back to efficiencies. If you look at your farm today and you go, it is so complex, the way we've got the pigs set up and the sheep set up, and we've got that little calf, and we've got the chickens, and we've got those other chickens, and then my daughter's chickens and those ones, and it's just so complex. It's not ready for someone to walk in and go, there's the chickens, there's the pigs, there's the laneway, feed them, and you leave. And they go, cool, that sounds easy, let's do it. Online presence, this is important these days. If I'm looking at a business, I want to see, I will have a look at their website, their Facebook page, their Instagram, like their YouTube, like other social media things to say, what's their online presence? And there's some businesses, their online presence is amazing, and they may not be very profitable or some things, maybe outside of the farming industry, but it's valued quite a bit because they go, look at the influence this business has. If we start converting some of those people online, to paying customers. And lastly, I'd want an easy transaction to say, I want to buy your business off you for XYZ dollars. Let's exchange the money and I take it over. But if it's some very complicated 3 years terms, because we've got to get this right and that right and everything else, because they're really sorting out their complicated operation, it's going to be hard to buy. Few things to keep in mind. Now, all of those, they come back to efficiencies. If you don't have clear accounting, you're not going to be very efficient when you're entering an invoice in, or you want to pull up the expenses of something, and that can take time. Most of the wastage, well, not most, but a massive portion of the wastage on a farm is time. It's probably not the feed that you accidentally spilt when you're getting it out of the silo. That over the year is probably absolutely tiny compared to wasted time. If you cannot measure it, you cannot control it. Take a screenshot, put that one up on your wall. Think about that, read it again. Measure everything. And because I'm talking about efficiencies, I want to just drill it on time, but I would measure income, expenses, suppliers, like everything you can measure it all, because then you can say, goes, hang on, 3 years ago we were paying that and now it's this, or we were selling it for that and now we're selling it for this. Measure everything. I just really want to focus in on time. And I'm going to do a cost benefit analysis on time with the question, should I get an electric gate? I could talk about cost benefit analysis, but I want to apply it to something. So the questions come up. Okay, I can get an electric gate for $500. Should I get one? So I'm going to take you through this. So this is an example. This isn't a real life example, but it's just showing you the process. So my worker goes in that paddock, in a particular paddock, he goes in that paddock once a day to feed chickens and collects eggs. Time to open and close the gate once is 2 minutes. So I want to jump to, so you drive up to the gate, you stop the car, put on the handbrake, open the door, hop out of the car, walk up to the gate, unlatch the gate, swing the gate open, walk back to the car, hop in the car, close the door, release the handbrake, put it in gear, drive through the gate, stop the car, pull up the handbrake, open the door, walk back to the gate, close the gate, latch the gate, walk back to the car, close the door, release the handbrake, drive off. That's the 2 minutes, because if someone's like, it doesn't take me 2 minutes to open a gate, I mean the full thing. Keep with the example. I'm sure you might be able to do it in 1 minute. Someone else might take 3 minutes, depends how good your gates are. Time to open and close gate once is 2 minutes. I'm paying my worker $27 an hour, so that's 45 cents a minute. My worker opens and closes that gate 2 times a day, because going into the paddock, it's 2 minutes to go in, and then it's two minutes to come out. So it's 2 times a day. I said at 2 minutes, so that's 4 minutes a day. 4 times 45, so 4 minutes at 45 cents a minute, times 365 days a year. So with this example, I'm paying $657 a year for my worker to go in and out of that paddock. Should I get an electric gate for $500? I say yes. So $657 a year in wages versus a $500 electric gate. Now, it makes sense just in the year. I'm going, well, I'm going to save money just in time of wages. After 4 years, let's just say, okay, that gate, it may need replacing after 4 years. The gate has cost me $500. Wages has cost me $2,628. Now, if you never measured that, you would never know how many farms, and this can work for you and against you, how many farms have not put in that electric gate. Now, I don't know, maybe an electric gate costs $2,000. I'm just using this as an example. But there are many farms that go through a particular gate. It could be the gate in the laneway, and they go through it like 8 times a day, and they're hopping on and off the quad bike or in and out of the car ute. And you think, put in an electric gate for sure, you would save money. But they've actually never done this. They've never actually put a dollar figure on their time at 45 cents a minute, saying, let's add that up over the year of what that actually costs. The other side, I said it can work for you and against you. The way it could work against you, if you don't actually do this cost benefit analysis, what you could find is you go, yeah, let's put an electric gate on that paddock. And you go, how many times a year do you go in that paddock? 10 times a year. So you go, right, you've just spent $500 on that gate. You're going there 10 times a year. So in the first year, it's costing you $50 a pop to open and close that gate. Because the $500 divided by 10. Now maybe you do write it off over the 4 years, but when you do it over the 4 years, you go, it's not viable. It's not viable to put it on. Some farmers love this, some people hate it, because I've done this with farmers for a tractor. Okay, you want to pay $40,000 for a tractor, what are you going to do? Oh, it'd just be handy to have it around the farm, it'll be good and whatever. I'm sure it would. Where's it actually going to make you money? And don't get me wrong, there's some farms a tractor is great, they need whatever, but when you're first starting up, there's a few farms, I love going to them, they're first starting up and they go, we don't have a tractor. I'm like, awesome. And they go, what? They think I'm meant to go, man, no, go, buy a big tractor. If they don't need a tractor, don't get it. Wait till you're making money. So measure everything. That's the cost benefit analysis example. If you cannot measure it, you can't control it. So this is something for marketing. So we're talking about the last example was a gate in the paddock. This is marketing. Where do you do your marketing? When do you do it? What has worked best? What has not worked? You'll know those things when you measure it, especially where do you do it? You write it down to say, this is where our marketing's going. What's worked best? Who's responded to those ads? Who hasn't? If you can't measure it, you can't control it. So measure everything. I'm going to get back to create a manual. The manual is, this is how my business works. And you can pause the video and go through each one. And I'm using this example for a chicken farm, but I understand that this training, I've helped people on all sorts of farms that have beef and lamb and orchards and all other things. So you can see at the top left there, where do you do your marketing? Where do you do your marketing? When do you do it? What has worked best? What has not worked? The next one, suppliers list. This is good. Like, there's a lot of businesses that go, oh, I'll have to remember that. Well, that's not good if you are going to sell your business. So if you are an egg farmer, your suppliers list should be, where do you get your egg cartons from, your feed from, your chicken from, your chickens, like your point of lay pullets. Is there a printing company that prints your like labels or brochures or anything? Your website hosts, what company is that hosted through? Next, you've got your customers list, how they order, your past customers. So you could have had people that no longer buy from you. It's good just to keep a list of that, unless the shop or whatever has fully closed down, but someone may change suppliers, they could come back to you. Waiting list of customers. And in case of a chicken farm, customers that buy old hens from you, that's a separate list, so you can communicate with them. As for procedures, so bottom left there, how to feed the chickens, how to move the fences, how to test the electric fence, how to collect the eggs, how to sort and pack the eggs. You can write a manual for each one, a procedure. We feed the chickens every Tuesday. First, like step 1, drive the ute over to the feed shed. Step 2, check if there's feed in the silo. Step 3, fill up the feed bin. Step 4, and you just go through it. And for you go, oh, this is boring as I know exactly how to do it. If you're going to sell the business or you've got a staff member, do this. And just by doing it, you'll go, step 5 in there is, I have to now walk over to the silo and grab the buckets because that's where the buckets are kept or whatever. And then, but when you actually have to write that down, you go, why am I walking over there to get it? Why don't I just buy another 2 buckets and put them here? Especially if you're measuring minutes to go, well, how long does it take to walk over there and get that one thing? And I see it on farms all the time. Like, follow some farmer around, or not all the time. There's a lot of farms that are very, very efficient, but they're like, oh yeah, this is kept over there. Oh wait, I've got to go get that other shovel that's here because I don't have one over here. And they're running all over the place. And if you're running all over the place for a job that you do once every 6 months, well, that's cool. But if you're running all over the place for a job you do every day because, oh, that thing should be in the ute, but we need to buy another one, but we haven't fixed it. If you start documenting that in a manual, you'll start to see where the flaws are. You'll start to see, oh, that's right, that's inefficient, when you actually have to get pen to paper and write down what you have to do. Lastly, the one in the middle at the bottom, yeah, write down like your farmers markets, your annual events, your local shows, and past events that didn't work. So these are obviously events you turn up with. And sorry, the last one is what didn't work or why you don't do something. So you could put in there, hey, we did some marketing, or we used to feed the chickens something from some supplier. Put that down there. It's good for your reference, but it's good for anyone else because you want to build this business beyond yourself. Otherwise, you could say, oh yeah, I know why we don't use Fred's feeds or whatever. His feeds are not good quality. Now, if you know that and it's ingrained into your memory, as soon as you've got a manager or a staff member or you sell the business, they may not. So you write it down. Create a manual. I would recommend this book so I don't have to add another 4 hours to this presentation. Get this book. It's helped us quite a bit with my businesses. It's by Sam Carpenter. It's called Work the System. You can go to workthesystem.com. I think you can get an audio version. If you go to his website, I think you might be able to download a free ebook or audio version or something. I know you could in the past, but if not, like even if it costs you like $40 off Amazon, get it. It's really good. Go through the book, and he's a master of like setting up systems so things work like clockwork. Really cool. Really good resource. What you don't want, so I'll give you a few examples. You don't want 9 weeks to show a new staff member how things work. Hey, welcome to my farm. This is your first day on the job. And then after 9 weeks of them following you around, they finally understand how things work. You want to get to a stage where you can show them pretty well everything in a week, or maybe less, depending on how many aspects your farm has, because it's a written manual. How do I do that? And you hand it to them. In some cases, I say make a video. It's actually faster. Set up, press record on your phone and go, right, this is how I fill up the feeders. Grab the feed here, put it in, make sure the lid's down, check their water or whatever, and then I go, or whatever it is. So you don't want it to take weeks and weeks and weeks to train a new staff member. You don't want a case where you are the only person that knows how to do XYZ job. Yep, I'm the only person that knows how to do that. Well, that's not good, because if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, you want to sell to someone other than yourself, it's not good. It could be you, it could be someone else. You don't want a case of, oh, Jenny is the only person that knows how to do that job. Well, Jenny needs to start writing it down, point 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the steps from beginning to end of what needs to happen to get the cows from the back paddock and clip all the electric fences up and how things work and whatever. When you have to do this, you'll end up making things more simple, and you'll take out steps that are just a waste of time. Last thing you don't want it to take 5 months to show the new business owner how the business works. So if you sell the business and then you're back there every other day for 5 months so they finally get it, there's a good chance they're not going to buy it from you in the first place. So have that in mind. If you want to sell your business, have everything written down. Here are a few tips of marketing. Have a list of your marketing channels. List how you use each one. So we could be talking like your website, your Facebook page, your Instagram, and how you use each one. So you could use organic. So you might say the website's up there and it just sort of gets organic reach. So organic means not paid. It's not to do with farming, like organic farming, not spraying chemicals. It could be paid or it could be used to promote events. So you could have a marketing channel which you put an ad in the local newspaper. Hopefully you don't, unless it's really works for you. But we say we use that marketing channel just to promote our little on-farm field days. You have a procedure for each one. This is how you log into Facebook, and then this is what you do if you want to upload a picture. You click here, you select a photo, you write a caption that has this bit of a formula in it, and then you press publish. Another thing you can do to make things efficient for your marketing and your admin, have a copy paste folder. I need to do more of this, I know, in my own business, so I'm not like, oh yeah, I need to get, where's that logo, where's that photo? Just have a folder there. It's a folder of photos of you and your farm. If you could have a journalist ring up, they do a phone interview and they go, can you shoot through some photos? At time of recording, today is a Monday, literally on Friday, I spoke to someone named Ian that is writing a story for an airline magazine, and he said, hey, can you send through a photo of yourself and a few chickens out on pasture? And I'm like, yep, no worries. Have a copy paste folder. The other thing you have in there is hashtags that work well. So if you're doing things with Instagram or Facebook and you're using hashtags, you could have a copy paste folder of those. Now, on hashtags, at the time of this recording, hashtags are big in Instagram, but digital things are always changing. So if you're listening to this a bit later and hashtags are dead and gone, I don't think they will be, but if they are, just understand whatever the equivalent is. Your story, this is something I teach you in marketing. Tell your story. Have somewhere, so you're not like going to your website and literally copy pasting off there. Have it in a folder in a Word doc, because you may use that in some of your marketing or a script for a video. Email templates for selling old chickens. If you have a chicken farm, just so you don't have to rewrite that email, just have one email, put it in that copy paste folder. So when you go, hey, I've got some old chickens to sell, go in there, copy, paste it, put the email addresses in and go. Your price list template, so if ever you need to update that, you don't need to recreate it. Logos and letterheads. Other tips around selling your business. So accounting, clear records of income and expenses. So a few tips here: pay yourself wages if you're working in the business. This is something that will also help you, because you can go, oh right, I'm doing 60 hours a week. And then if you're doing 60 hours a week, I'd say to you, what tasks are you doing that don't need to be done or could be done a lot more efficiently? So then you get actually the same amount of output out of 40 hours. One of them could be installing an electric gate. Who knows? Some of them, could be putting in a laneway, so you don't have to open 27 gates to get to that last paddock. Just put a laneway in, guys. I wish I got $1 for every time I advised a new farmer that they've created a paddock after a paddock after a paddock. I'm like, do you know you could put a laneway? It's like a road. Anyway, that's basic stuff. The next thing, deposit, declare, and record all cash sales. No one is interested in your business if you say, oh yeah, we turn over $100,000 a year, $60,000. Yeah, it's just out at that honesty box, just that farm shop out the front. Go, and the buyer's like, well, where is it? Oh, yeah, it's all just cash sales. It's all good. It's all good. And you go, well, it's not all good. They're only going to look at what is actually deposited, declared, and has a record for. So, I think you shoot yourself in the foot, especially if you're like, oh yeah, we'll get all these cash sales, because then when you want clear accounting for yourself to say how much do you actually make, well, you actually don't know. So you could be running a loss, where if you bank it all, you'll know. Another tip, customers, have more than one. I covered this a little bit before. Have a list of 10 to 40 customers. So if I'm selling produce or eggs or whatever, I don't want to sell to one person, Because if something happens to that one person, they change their mind, they change suppliers, they go bankrupt, they die, something happens, it's just too risky. Have a list of 10 to 40 customers that you sell to. I love it if you're selling directly to the consumer, not to retail stores. I'd love it if it's 100, because you know what? If you've got 100 customers and they're all buying, I don't know, $30 a week off you, whatever the figure is, just to keep it average, and one of them says, oh, I'm moving house out of the area, okay, well, you've got 100 people paying you $30 a week. If one of them cancels next week, it's not a big deal. But let's just say you're selling $3,000 worth of produce a week, and $2,500 of that is to a big supplier, and they go, oh, by the way, we're closing down, or we're shut up for 6 weeks for renovations. Suddenly you go, oh my goodness, I've got to move $2,500 worth of produce, and I've got to do it quickly. Spread it out. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And yeah, that second point, no customer taking more than 30% of your output. So there are a few tips. Lastly, staff. If you have staff on your farm, this will make things more efficient, because when you're handing money out in wages and you go, man, I've paid out a lot of wages, what have they done? And you start going, right, they could probably do that more efficiently. How can I train them better? And if you're selling your business, it shows that you are not a one-man band. So anyway, that's the end of this presentation. I wanted to keep it short, sweet, straight to the point. Farm efficiencies for profit. Please go back through, take notes, please action and implement what you have learnt today. Have a great day. Thank you.